Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a highly requested topic that impacts thousands of households. We're going to break down the specific reporting rules for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, right here in Indiana. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by government paperwork, well, you are in the exact right place.
Look, let's be real. Navigating SNAP income reporting in Indiana can be incredibly confusing. The bureaucratic language isn't exactly a light beach read, right? But understanding this process is absolutely crucial if you want to maintain your benefits and avoid any unwanted surprises down the road. So stay tuned, follow along with us, and I promise you're going to master this whole thing in no time.
Okay, here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start with SNAP reporting basics, then jump into timelines and simplified reporting. After that, we'll go over special rules for ABAWs, cover forms, methods, and notices, outline the penalties for rule violations, and finally, wrap things up with some final tips and resources.
Let's get right into Section 1, SNAP Income Reporting Basics.
First things first, who actually sets the rules here? In Indiana, the overarching agency is the Family and Social Services Administration, commonly known as the FSSA. But more specifically, you're going to be dealing with a specific branch inside the FSA called the Division of Family Resources, or DFR. The DFR is the entity that runs the SNAP program in Indiana. Their main goal is to maintain program integrity, minimize payment errors, and make sure benefits are distributed fairly. So whenever we're talking about reporting an income change today, the DFR is the agency you are actually reporting to.
Moving right along to Section 2, Timelines and Simplified Reporting.
Now, you might hear the term simplified reporting and roll your eyes. It sounds like classic bureaucratic jargon, doesn't it? But actually, it's a real game changer because it literally means less work for you. Under this framework, you do not have to call the state every single time you pick up an extra shift at work or make a few extra bucks. You are only required to report changes to the division when your household's total gross monthly income actually exceeds the established gross income limit for your specific family size.
So here is the absolute most important number you need to remember, 130%. The gross income threshold in Indiana is generally benchmarked at 130% of the federal poverty level. And just a quick reminder, gross monthly income means the money your household makes before taxes and deductions are taken out. As long as that gross amount stays under 130% of the federal poverty level for your household size, you don't need to report those minor day-to-day fluctuations.
But what happens when you do cross that line? Well, that brings us to the golden rule, which is the number 10. If your household's monthly gross income passes that 130% limit, you have to report the change to the DFR by the 10th day of the calendar month following the change. Missing this specific deadline is exactly where people start running into trouble. Let's actually walk through a quick scenario so you can see exactly how this plays out. Step 1. Let's say you get a fantastic promotion at work during the month of June, and your new gross salary pushes your household income over that 130% limit. Step 2. You recognize that this change happened in June, so Step 3. Because the income change happened in June, you are strictly required to report it to the Division of Family Resources by July 10th. See? It's a very clear 3-step cycle.
All right, Section 3, Special Rules for ABAWDs. So ABAD stands for Able-Bodied Adults Without Dependents. If you happen to fall into this specific category in your assistance group and you're employed, you aren't just looking at an income ceiling. You also have to watch a floor of 80 hours. The rules require employed ABODs to report when their employment hours decrease below 80 hours per month.
Let's put these two scenarios side by side just to make sure it's crystal clear. General reporting focuses on when your gross income goes up and exceeds that 130% mark. But ABAD reporting triggers when your work hours drop below 80 hours per month. The timeline to report, though, stays exactly the same. The source documentation gives us a perfect example. If you're an ABOD and your hours drop from 80 down to 75 in the month of November, you must report that change to the DFR office by December 10th.
Section 4, Forms, Methods, and Notices.
Now you might be wondering, how on earth am I supposed to know my exact limit? Don't worry, the state doesn't expect you to just guess the math. First off, the specific income limit amount for your assistance group is verbally given to you during your eligibility interview. Second, it is permanently printed on your official notice of eligibility. And third, when you do need to report a change, you have to use the official reporting forms provided by the DFHS. You can submit those right back to the FSSA, for instance, by mailing them to their document center over in Marion, Indiana.
Always keep an eye out for official mail bearing that Indiana state seal.
Your official notice of action will explicitly state a dollar amount right under a bolded message that says, "You must report if your monthly gross income is more than this amount." Keep that piece of paper safe. It's basically your personalized rulebook.
Section 5. Penalties for rule violations.
We need to talk about the consequences, because the state takes this incredibly seriously. According to the official Indiana application for SNAP, everyone receiving benefits has to follow some strict rules. You cannot give false information to get or keep benefits. You absolutely cannot trade or sell your SNAP benefits or your Hoosier Works card. And altering documents to get more than you're entitled to or using someone else's benefits for personal gain, the state considers those intentional breaches of the program.
And the penalties for purposely breaking these rules, they escalate really rapidly. If you break these rules on purpose, you can be barred from the SNAP program entirely. A first violation gets you a 12-month ban. A second violation results in a 24-month ban. And if there's a third violation, you are permanently banned from the program, no exceptions.
Now, there's also a totally separate track of penalties related specifically to work requirements. To be eligible, folks aged 16 through 59 generally have to register for work. If someone fails to comply with those work requirements or just quits a job without a good reason, they can be disqualified. This track gives you a 2-month disqualification for the first violation, 6 months for the second, and a massive 36 months for the third violation, unless, of course, you meet specific exemption criteria provided by your caseworker.
Okay, almost done. Section 6. Final tips and resources.
So, why does all this timely reporting by the 10th of the month really matter so much? Well, beyond avoiding those bans we literally just talked about, reporting on time prevents benefit overpayments. If you earn too much but don't tell the state, they're going to keep sending you benefits you aren't actually eligible for. And that creates an overpayment claim against your household, which the DFR will absolutely require you to pay back. The state even notes that your info and social security numbers could be referred to federal agencies, state agencies, or private collection agencies to get that money back. Simply staying on top of your 130% limit protects your wallet.
Which brings us to probably the most important question I can ask you today. Do you know your household-specific 130% gross income threshold this month? If you don't know that exact dollar amount off the top of your head right now, your homework, as soon as this explainer finishes, is to go find your latest DFR notice of eligibility. Find that number, stick it on your fridge, and you'll always know exactly where you stand. This explainer is intended for informational purposes only. Please consult with a legal or financial professional for specific advice related to your situation. And remember that procedures and regulations may change. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep learning.